She's about to wake up. Hi guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you are a returning subscriber, hey, what's up, how you doing? So in today's video I am finally going to be doing my labor/delivery story time. I am not a good storyteller, so for that purpose I'm gonna have some video clips of the whole process and how it all went down in this video. I'm going to give you guys all the juicy details. It's probably going to be a long video, so at this point I'm going to advise that you go get a cup of tea, a biscuit or something, and just get really comfortable. I'm going to introduce my little girl to you at the end of this video, so make sure you watch it to the end so you can see my little bundle of joy. Let's jump straight into the video. Oh, disclaimer guys, I'm going to be doing this a lot because this hair is really soft and it keeps going in my face, so yeah. My due date was on the 6th of September, and because of all the shenanigans that happened right at the beginning of my pregnancy, everybody thought that my baby was going to come really early, and so I really got anxious when I reached my due date and my little girl still wasn't here. I got really anxious and I got really impatient. Guys, I know I am impatient, yeah, but at that point during that period, like, I was really impatient. And so it got to the 6th of September and my baby was nowhere to be found. She was still snuggled in my belly, didn't want to come out of the world. She was too comfortable in there and she just wasn't ready to come out yet. It got to the 6th of September and she wasn't here, so I had a midwife appointment on the 6th of September. I think it was the 6th of September, and we scheduled an induction. Now the first stage of an induction is where they do a membrane sweep, and basically what they do is the midwife shoves her finger up your cervix and does like a little sweep of your cervix, hoping that your body will release some hormones that will, you know, get labor started. So when I went for this midwife appointment, she couldn't quite reach my cervix because my cervix was still behind my baby's head, so I wasn't anywhere close to labor, so she couldn't do the sweep. So what they did was she rescheduled me to come back for another membrane sweep a week later. So at this point I went home and I started doing everything to get labor started. I was dancing, I was jumping up and down, I was cleaning, I was constantly going out taking walks and trying to find somebody that will go on walks with me, just trying to get labor started, and nothing. I started getting very agitated, I started getting angry, I started getting impatient, I started thinking, oh my goodness, I am tired of being pregnant now. So I started getting, really frustrated with myself, with my body, willing my body to, like, do what it's supposed to do and produce my baby. I went in again for another membrane sweep at my GP and still nothing. She couldn't reach my cervix, and I remember leaving that appointment, that GP appointment, with tears in my eyes. So at the appointment she scheduled me in to go into hospital. So I just want to get the dates right, guys. She scheduled me in to go into the hospital on the 18th of September for a proper full-on induction. And I was just so upset because I really wanted my body to do this by itself. You know the whole story of, you're walking down the stairs or you're cooking and your water breaks and you go into labor and then your baby's here and you're like, ah. I really wanted that, but my body just refused to cooperate, and so they scheduled me in to go into hospital to have my babies. So on the 18th of September, me and my husband Nee, my mom, we packed my hospital bag, my baby's bag, and we went to the hospital. So on getting into the hospital, I was registered, did all this and then they came in and explained the whole process to me. So what it was that they were going to insert like this little SIM card thing into my cervix, which was called Propess, and what that was going to do was release a drug that was going to force my body to go into labor basically, and encourage me to start getting dilated, for my cervix to soften, and for me for things to get started, and hopefully my waters would break and then I would have this baby. So I was on the ward, they came in, they inserted it. The process isn't it's not painful, it's just quite uncomfortable because someone is shoving something up your cervix. It's just uncomfortable, but it wasn't painful. So I just tried to stay relaxed, even though I was so frustrated with myself, guys. But so they inserted this Propest thing in, and guys, I was fine. I was completely fine. I was completely normal. Nothing happened. The Propest goes in for 24 hours, so the drug is released over 24 hours in hope that, you know, things will get started and your body will do its thing. So they inserted it, and for 24 hours nothing happened. I was eating, I was chilling, I was dancing, I was doing the baby mama dance in the hospital on the ward. You know, I was fine. Like, there was, people were like, are you even sure you're pregnant? Like, are you sure, like, this drug just went into your body that's supposed to induce labor, and nothing. So I was walking around, I was chilling, I had food, I was comfortable, I was just calm. After 24 hours, this takes us to Tuesday morning of that week. The doctors came in and said, okay, this Propest didn't work. You have two options. We either schedule you in to go in for a C-section, or we try again and have put another one of this drug in. We decided that they would put another one of these Propest in, but then you have to wait 12 hours. So I couldn't have another one in until Wednesday morning. So this is going to be my 3rd day in hospital. So on the 3rd day, they came in, Wednesday morning, came in, put the Propest in, and guys, I can tell you that as soon as, I remember this vividly, it just is stuck in my head. As soon as she puts that Propest inside, guys, I felt a pain that I just cannot explain. Guys, I'm sorry, I just can't explain it. And over time, the memory of the pain has kind of faded. So I just felt this really tight pain, and it felt like really bad period pain. Like the kind of period pain I get during my period is really bad, but this one was excruciating. I pressed the buzzer for the nurse to come. They didn't come, so I started just, you know, walking around my bed, you know, drinking water, just trying to get comfortable, which was not happening. They put it in about 9, got to about 12, and my husband Lee came in and was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm in so much pain. So I laid down on the bed trying to sleep. It just didn't work. So we finally managed to get a midwife come into my room, and she put me on a monitor, and they realized that I'd been having contractions. But usually when you start having contractions, you know, it's like you get a contraction and then you get like 5 minutes or 10 minutes break, then you get another contraction. But my contractions were coming one after the other, and I didn't have time to like take a breather. And they were like, you know what, we're gonna have to take this out because it's overstimulating you, it's doing too much work for right now. So what they did was they decided to take the Propest out. At the point where they took the Propest out, they decided to check how many centimeters dilated I was. I was only about 1 centimeter dilated, and I'd been having contractions. So they were like, okay, we're gonna keep you up on, still keep you on the ward and just monitor you and keep an eye on your contractions. So I'm on the ward. At that point, the contractions kind of started tapering down a little bit. So rather than them being like 1, 1, 1 on the monitor, I started getting a little bit of a break in between. So I was able to have something to eat. They kept on monitoring me, and then the contractions started getting really intense. It got to about 7 o'clock, and it just started getting, the pain started getting worse. The pain was just intense, guys. It was intense. And they were like, okay, we need you to be 2 centimeters dilated before we can take you down to the labor ward. So I was like, okay then, check, can you check and find out whether I am dilated or not? She checked me and she was like, you're still only about 1 centimeter dilated. But the pain, the contractions were getting worse. And then they put me on the monitor, and they realized that the contractions were coming a lot more frequently, like when I had the Propest in. So it got to about 9 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, and the midwife came in again, checked my cervix, and I was about just about 2 centimeters dilated. So she was like, okay, I'm going to ring the labor ward and see if they have a bed, and then you can go down. And then you can go down to the labor ward. So she rang the labor ward, and they were like, oh, we're still really busy, but we'll let you know once we are ready. So at that point, I'm still having contractions, I'm still in pain, I'm still trying to drink water, I'm breathing heavily, I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm just sat thinking like, this is intense. She came back in and I went down to the labor ward. At that point on the labor ward, I could have gas and air. Guys, gas and air just gasses you. I started doing the most.
Hi guys. So they gave me gas and air. I'm so drowsy. Wow. Okay. Taking the edge off. It's not taking it off completely, but it takes the edge off. And he's looking at me like I'm strange because I'm vlogging, but
it's getting your mind off it.
Guys, I've been doing this for the past 12 hours. You know, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 hours. I'm calling God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity. But now they've given me gas and air.
You need only one of them.
I'm not calling them as much. Laughing, guys, is making me so freaking drowsy, and I'm talking a bit too much. Are you judging me right now?
I'm not.
Guys, I was breathing in that gas and air like it was oxygen. I was not having it because I was in so much pain. So every time a contraction would come, I would breathe in and then breathe out. And so my mom works in the hospital that I was in, so she came up to see me for a bit because she was on the night shift on that Wednesday night, and she went back to work. And yeah, I was getting gas. At that point they decided that they were gonna break my waters. I started to get really a bit emotional because I really wanted my body to do its thing. Like we as women, that's one of the things that, you know, we're built to do. It's one of the things that we're built to be able to do, and I was just really frustrated that my body was not doing it. So yeah, so they broke my waters, and as soon as they broke my waters, I knew that labor pain could take a whole new dimension. Guys, all the pain I'd been feeling before was nothing. No, absolutely nothing. It was nothing to the pain I was feeling now. So the gas and air was not working. People were talking to me. I was not having it. I didn't want to talk to anyone, and the pain just kept on getting worse. So it got to about 7 in the morning of Thursday, and so I'd been having contractions since the night before until 7 in the morning, and I was only about 5 centimeters dilated, and they were all wondering like, this girl is having really strong contractions and she's only 5 centimeters dilated, like what's going on? So at that point the pain was so intense, and I was starting to get tired, and I started getting this urge to push. And because I was only 5 centimeters dilated, me pushing was affecting my baby. At about 7 o'clock, the lady came up to the midwife. So she came up to me and she was like, okay, I'm gonna give you an advice. I know you said you wanted a natural birth. Like I wanted the birth of my baby to be as natural as possible, but I was still kind of open to changes and things that, you know, might change, that kind of thing. So she told me that your baby's head is starting to swell, Dee, because you're pushing and you're getting this really strong urge to push when you're not supposed to be. So basically what it is like my cervix was only like that much, and my baby's head was trying to force its way through, and her head was starting to swell. Because of this pain, the best thing was to have an epidural and get something to reduce the pain, so I didn't have that urge to push. So me and Nee spoke about it, and I was like, oh, I didn't want an epidural. I really wanted to do this by myself, but we decided in the best interest of my daughter, let's have this epidural. So they gave me the epidural, and guys, the I could not feel anything, like nothing. And having an epidural, I know there's a lot of back and forth about women having epidurals, but I would say if you can have an epidural, have an epidural, because it's not worth going through that pain. Because an epidural, it didn't hurt me. The only problem was when you have the epidural, you have to sit really still while they put the needle in, and it's really difficult to do that when you are having a contraction. So I really just had to like sit and just not think about it and just sit still while they put the needle in and do their thing. But as soon as the drug goes in, the pain subsided. I had my epidural about 9 a.m. on Thursday morning. So as the day was going on, her heart rate started dropping and my contractions were no longer coming. So I was no longer having contractions. It was almost like my body had shut down. I was extremely tired, and my baby's heart rate was dropping. And I get so upset thinking about it, because I remember the midwife just telling me all of this, and I just gave up and I just broke down in tears, because I started thinking about the beginning of the pregnancy, the whole drama at the beginning, and then now with everything that was going on. I've had to have this induction that I really didn't want to have, because I wanted to, you know, let my body do its thing. I've had to have an epidural that was a part of my birth plan and what I really wanted for my labor. They decided that they would give me some oxytocin, which is a drug that encourages your body to have contractions. They gave it to me, and it didn't work. It did not work. So her heart rate just kept on dropping, and then it got to about 6 in the evening. They checked how many centimeters dilated I was. I was only about 7 centimeters, so I wasn't even close to having to push, and I'd literally spent almost 24 hours in labor and I was only about 7 centimeters dilated. So they were like, okay, we're gonna keep going. I started to get a high temperature, so my temperature started to go up, and I started to get a fever, and I can't even speak, I'm getting emotional, I'm so sorry guys. So I started to get a fever, and I got septicemia, which is basically an infection of the blood. So yeah, and because I had that, you can pass it on to your baby, and it's really, really dangerous for yourself and your child. And they were going to have to start me on antibiotics. They started me on IV antibiotics, and my fever was still going up. So so they started to panic that this infection might get passed on to my baby, so they had to get her out of me as soon as possible. So they planned me to go in for an emergency C-section. I remember like everything just came out of me. I was just tired. I was just frustrated. I'd been in the hospital since Monday. It was now Thursday night, and I just wanted to hold my baby. And I remember saying to my mom, I just want my child. Like, I just want my baby. Why is it so difficult? Why has this been so difficult from the beginning to right now? Why has everything just been so hard for me? Like why couldn't it just be so simple and so straightforward? And my mom just prayed for me, and she was like, Dee, there's a reason why. Everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why God has decided that this is the process that you're going to have to hold your baby. And when you do hold your baby, you've ever felt. And yeah, so I got, you know, got ready to have the C-section, and I prayed to God that everything would go well. They told me everything that would go on, how the whole process of the C-section. I never thought I would have a C-section, so I hadn't really read much about it. I'd read a bit, but not too much, and from what I knew from uni as well. So they gave me all that information. I signed my consent form, and they prepped me, gave me the anesthetic, and then they wheeled me down to the no, they didn't give me the anesthetic yet. They wheeled me down to the operating theatre, and only me could come with me, obviously. So at that point they gave me the anesthetic, asked me if I could feel anything, basically numbed me, and they did the C-section. It wasn't weird because I had this operation in the same area, just like the surgery I had earlier on in the year. It just felt all too familiar, and I started to panic a little bit, just because of the fact that I'd done something so similar at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of my pregnancy, and it's coming to the end of it, and I'm doing something so similar, a very similar surgery again. I just panicked a little bit, and when they laid me out on that table, I just prayed to God that I have come this far, Lord. I have come to the end. Like, I panicked, and I just wanted everything to go well. And I remember just looking at my husband and just being like, I'm so tired, like I'm just really tired now. And he just said, this is the last bit. I remember he kept on talking out of nervousness. He kept on talking, and he asked me, was like, should I stop talking? I was like, yes, please stop talking. Your voice is annoying me. The breath that you're using to talk is annoying me. Just stop now. And at 9:21, I think, I can't remember the date, I'm so bad, I started feeling the tugging of them trying to get my baby out. And because her head was so far down, this girl was ready to be born, but my body just didn't want to open up for her to come out. It just did not want to do it. They literally had to like pull, like use so much effort to pull her out of there. Yeah, and about 9 something my baby came out into the world, and I didn't hear crying. And I looked at Nia, I was like, why isn't she crying? They took her out into the room because obviously they had to check her out, make sure everything was okay. And Nia went to be with her, and then they brought her to me and they laid her on my chest, and I was able to do skin to skin with her. And guys, having a baby is the most beautiful thing in the world. I've never felt so much emotion in my life. I am actually holding my child. I am holding this blessing, this miracle that you have given to me. And I just thought about everything that happened in the last 9 months, and I just gave God all the glory. And funny enough, I didn't cry at that point. But then they took her back because they obviously had to check for this infection that I might have passed on to her. So they put a cannula in her and started her on IV antibiotics. When they rolled me into the recovery room, and I got to hold her again, and then at that point she obviously had to eat, and she latched on so well. I just kept on thanking God. And yeah, it was such a beautiful experience, and I was just so blown away. After that, we had to stay in hospital for not until Sunday, because we had both been started on IV antibiotics and some other drugs. We both had to stay in hospital, and on Sunday afternoon we were able to leave the hospital with our bundle of joy. It was the greatest feeling, walking out of that hospital, her in her car seat. I was so elated. My heart was just bursting with joy. Me walking out of that hospital with my baby in my arms just made me realize that God is actually real. He heard every single one of my prayers. And my baby was, guys, my baby was 3.85 kg. She was 8 pounds. I remember leaving the hospital and also thinking, thank you, Jesus, that I did not have to push her out, because the tears would have been epic. Even though it didn't go the way that I envisioned it, or the way I always thought I would have my baby, I am so grateful that at least it went and I had her. And she's a beautiful little girl, guys. She's so gorgeous, and I'm so proud of myself and my husband. We created, you know, something quite special. So yeah, so I'm gonna show her to you guys. Let me just get her so you guys can meet her. Oh, I'm gonna wake her up. Hi, can you say hi? Can you say hi to the YouTube world? She's fast asleep, guys. Can you say hello? Can you say hello to them? Hi. Joy, my baby Joy, my Jasmine Joy. Look at her cheeks. I wanted her to be awake through this, but then I wouldn't have been able to record this video, so I'm glad she's sleeping. But baby girl, that is the video, guys. Meet Jasmine Joy, my little pride of joy. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to my channel. And oh, what's the matter? Let me just put her down. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to check out my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you guys in my next video. Say bye, Jasmine. Bye. I love you, baby.